I didn't bother filming painting, honestly. All I did is grabbed a black gallon of trim clad and I brushed it on. So that's it. Now, there are a few things left to do, and that would include all electrical systems. And now that, all that welding and painting and whatnot is done, I had to install those guides that you can see here, the white ones. And then, so as the sailboat comes in, the keel will be guided in and rest right between those two wheels, while the hull supports will actually hold the hull on both sides on 6 points. To install this slide or ramp or whatever you call it, what I did is I drilled holes, installed 3/8 cap screw, 3/8 cap screws, and I actually threaded the 4x4 underneath. That's not coming out of here. I've recessed this. This is way past where the keel is going to be, but the other ones are perfectly recessed. It's not going to interfere at all. Now, as for the rail guides, these ones, one of the advice that I received from the guys is that sometimes when your boat is on the trailer and you want to service or replace these rails, you want to be able to access the bolt. If the boat's on there, the keel is here, you can't access that. So what I did is I simply drill a hole right through, and I've got some lag bolts, 2.5-inch lag bolts, and they don't interfere on this side. So I've got them at every post. And so that's going to be a nice, easy way to maintain the trailer should I need to at some point. So the next part is electric brakes. So today's project is the electrical system on this trailer. When I inspected this particular plug here, there's 7 ways. See, there's one that's broken right off. So Lord knows how that happened, but I've got a replacement for it. And all the wires are in here, so it's not going to be a big deal. I just have to cut this, splice it into the new plug, and all the 7 wires in. I already counted them. Here they are. Now, this blue and black here, when you look through all of this, it's connected to this the safety plug. So when that separates, the brakes activate on the trailer, if you're unfortunate enough for that to happen, and then it'll stop the trailer. So the wires are already there all the way through. The only wires that don't go all the way are all these 7 wires that are required for all of the various lights and marker lights. So I've got some materials. I'm going to show you what I've got, and we'll proceed and get the job done here. And I'm going to show you all of the goodies that I got, starting with what doesn't seem important, but it really is. This is a protector hose, shall we call it. It's 1/2 inch, and it's split along the length so that you can actually put your wires inside. And it's pretty easy to do, and it's a real easy way to protect your wiring. I got some wiring of 4 different colors. I've got some clips, and I like using these clips because the rubber protects the actual the hose here and the wiring that's inside. I got some high quality stainless steel self-tapping screws. I have got, like I said, I need to replace this. I've got all the lights. I bought this as a kit. It came with the marker lights, the orange and reds, some connectors, and some more clips, etc. And of course, some more wiring, which is always useful to have. Now, all the way to the right here, you say, what is this Sanhima stuff? Well, it's a breakaway system. So when you have brakes, electric brakes on your trailer, depending on the load requirement for where you live, then you have to have a brake system. This particular one is really nice and handy because it comes with the battery inside. So it was $89 at Amazon, but well worth it. It comes with a test light, test button. You've got, this is the actual switch that's connected by a cable, a steel cable. And then if the truck and trailer separate, this comes out and activates the brakes. And that's all there is to it. So the instructions are in there. Let's have a quick look. I didn't really waste too much time looking at that yet, but as you can see, it's well illustrated, so shouldn't be a real no-brainer. Before I move on and actually install all the wiring and whatnot, I just want to point out that it's pretty important to make absolutely sure, I mean 100% sure, that what you've designated on your plug side is going to match what is on the vehicle side, right? And see, this is turned around here because I got this part sideways, but I actually took a light tester, something like this. You ground it for your vehicle, and then you turn on your vehicle, and then you test the left turn signal, right turn signal, tail light, blah, blah, blah. And you want to make absolutely sure that it's going to be the same. So I've made sure mine's going to be the same, and now I can actually prepare to do the actual wiring. Okay, don't forget to do that. Okay, so I've got all of my paperwork done, identifying all the correct connectors, the colors, and what supplies power to what. So if you don't do this very often, one thing you can do is just place things where you think they need to go. You know, especially according to regulations, you need to have a marker between the marker that's here on this fender and your hitch. So I'm placing one here. I've laid down all my cabling. I've identified them by taping it. This marker clearly is going to go here, and the red one is going to go here. You can see here I've got my tape marked. I've got my yellow wire marked as my left signal. My brown wire on both sides is going to serve as the supply for the tail lights. I've got my tail lights where they need to be, my plate holder. In the case of this trailer, it's wide enough that I require to have lights in the middle. And this is my left tail light. And of course, my other markers are pretty well where I need them to be. So now I know all the stuff that needs to get connected. And so there's very little room for error. So now it's time to get started on from my main connector. As you can see, I've got also the electric brake switch that connects to the truck with a stainless steel cable. That's in place. Make sure you get a good ground on everything. And that's about where I think I'm going to put this battery box, all right, with the power supply. I've already cut the old damaged plug, 7-way plug, and I've replaced it with this brand new one. It's I've used the same colors, of course, and these colors are represented right here at the end of the plug. So now it's a matter of me marrying all the right cables, appropriate connectors, making sure that you have good ground on your trailer, and then the rest of them, make sure that's all nice and good connections and tidy work, right? I just want to touch on the one of the most problematic issue that occurs on trailers is having a bad ground. So if you take a really heavy duty connector, make a really good ground, you know, grind down the metal, sand it down. You can apply some grease for electrical cabling should you wish to. So once you got your really good ground put on here, then every other accessory or light like this is going to have the ability to ground to the frame and really kind of do a good ground all around. When it comes to brake wiring, you really only have to worry about two, a blue and a white. The white is a ground and the other one is a blue, which takes current or voltage to the electromagnetic activator switch, whatever it's called. And then, as you'll see here, it goes from, it's wired together. There's one going to each wheel, right? So there you see those little wires in here going inside the brake system. And these are routed. There's one after that going to the next wheel. And what they do at the factory, actually, they have holes in the shaft, right? And it's routed right to the other side, to the other wheels. So that's pretty handy, protects the wiring and whatnot, and it's pretty foolproof. So that's the only thing really wanted to show you regarding the brakes and electrical wiring that feeds it. In my case, I kept the wiring for the brakes in its own sheath, protective sheath, right? You can see there's two of them here, and it's all tied nice and neat and well protected from everything that could snag onto it. All right, today is tire day, so I went and took 4 of my wheels and got used tires, all 4 of them, for $260. So it's up to you to go shopping and find whatever deal you need. Brand new tires for that much is just pretty cool. So now I'm gonna crack open these hubs, and this is another course on how to do brakes because it takes a few more minutes than that to teach. Therefore, I'm just letting you know that I'm gonna crack these open, check them up to see if the bearings are good and if the brake pads are good. If that's all right, then it goes back and gets reinstalled. All right, so I'm looking on the inside. Those brakes look really good. Clearly, this has been repacked not very long ago. So I'm just gonna make sure those cobwebs are removed from there and that it's all cleaned up. I'm gonna take the air hose and just blow that clean and give those bearings a once over. It's so far so good. All right, so these bearings look really good. Whoever had this trailer before must have just replaced those things and repacked them, which is just great. Now, the inside of these drums is very smooth. It's got very low surface rust, just barely on top from not being used. So I'm gonna give them a quick cleaning, use some brake cleaner and just a little steel wool just to give them a good clean. And that's it. So because this is going to be a sailboat trailer going to salt water, every time it goes in and out, I'm gonna have to open these up, give them a complete flush with fresh water and clean up and service. But you know, it's well worth the price given the fees associated with storing a sailboat at a yacht club. Now, I did mention that I'm not going to show you how to do brakes. Quite frankly, if you don't know how, then trust the professionals to keep you safe. All right, so don't mess around with that stuff if you really don't know how. It's not worth your safety. Hope you'll forgive the wind noise, but I'm outside, of course. So I'm about to check the electric brakes, and it's very easy to do, quite frankly. When your wheels are off the ground, they should all independently spin. So lift them off the ground, of course. Then you go to your brake switch, right? That's the one that pulls off. All right, let's pull that. Done. So now the electrical circuit's activated and power is running through. to the wheels, the wheel brakes. There's an electromagnetic switch in there. And see, brakes are on. Okay, I'm not going to show you the vehicle plugged in and everything lit up. I mean, it's kind of useless. But I want to show you, okay, so this is a 28-foot trailer. And I went and looked at all the regulations. This is for Transport Canada, of course. And I'm going to give you a link in the description so that you can see the lighting requirements. I usually go over the requirement standards. That way I don't have any issues. So I always put one in between the tongue and the wheels right there. One in the fender, that's required for a boat trailer. And then the red one behind the tail light, behind the fender, one behind the fender. These are all LED, and by the way, they are also waterproof. So here you go. I've already tested signal, brakes, everything works great. This actually you're able to connect to your brake cables as well, but I chose not to. One less headache. And so I've got all the lighting done. Now, one thing that's, of course, very important to do is to make sure that all of your cables, your wires, are protected. And as you can see, I've used that flexible wire cover all over, and I've used those clips. Let me show you. Use those clips I told you about. And so they're really out of the way, nice and sturdy, no extra pressure on the wiring itself, and everything. Thankfully, actually, now that we mention it, on a trailer frame, you see there's holes in the frames. So use those holes to route your wiring if you can, and that goes all the way to the back, right? So of course I had to create various other holes in order to route the cabling, but I did so in order to protect the overall connections. Now I've just got a couple more things to show you here. You notice that this cable that plugs to the truck, I've given it a good 2.5 feet distance from where the hitch hooks up to the ball, right? Now don't forget to secure the cable. You don't want things ripping earth on you. And so that's one important thing. The other thing is, of course, which is legal requirement and safety, is your safety chains. These safety chains, I've given them about 3.5 feet in length. Got the really good hooks on them, and you really need to have these the retainer, whatever they're called. And that's about that. Now this, don't forget about this here. So it's all unwrapped. So this here gets put through the end of your pickup truck where the hitch is located, and it needs to be tied securely with some sort of metal hook or whatnot. Okay, it has to be a metal retainer. And that's about it. So I've come to the end of the build for this sailboat trailer. I truly hope that I was able to help someone to, decide whether or not they want to do this. So as far as cost though, this particular trailer frame I got for about $800 Canadian. And then I've put approximately $1,600 worth of parts into it. So it's not cheap proposition, right? So you give it some thought before you do this. If you're not a handy, you may want to pay the $10,000 for a roadworthy trailer. Anyhow, I hope you like this content. If you do, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate if you leave me comments, and of course, should you wish to share this video with your friends, please do. I appreciate that as well. Take care. Bye-bye.